Chapter 18. Echoes of the Past. The hum of an electric engine filled the air, a steady thrum that echoed through the abandoned building where Lucas, Mina, and Thomas sought refuge. Outside, the world moved on, unaware of the tension brewing within these crumbling walls. Lucas could still hear the echo of their pursuers' footsteps, a chilling reminder that safety was a fleeting illusion. The shadows cast by the dim light stretched long and foreboding, dancing across the cracked walls as if taunting their predicament. "We can't stay here for long," Mina whispered, her voice barely above a breath. She glanced at Lucas, concern etched across her features. "We need a plan." Lucas nodded, his heart racing as memories of the Medi laboratory flooded his mind, each recollection tugging at his consciousness like a distant siren. The tests, the isolation, the endless examinations, it was a past he couldn't escape, even now. Thomas leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his brow furrowed. "What about the Citadel City of Elves?" he suggested, his voice low, yet filled with hope. "I hear it's neutral ground. They won't let Hybris enforce their laws there." "It's a long shot," Lucas replied, the familiar weight of doubt creeping into his thoughts. "Getting in isn't easy. They require proof of worthiness, and we don't have time to waste on trials." "What about the mountains?" Mina added. "The dwarves could offer us shelter. They might not be as friendly, but they don't take kindly to intruders either. If we could win their trust." Lucas felt the pressure build in his chest. Both places have their risks. We can't afford to be turned away. Not now. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Lucas's eye, a news report on a nearby screen in the corner of the room. He turned, and his breath hitched in his throat as the image of himself flashed across the screen, captured during the incident. The accompanying voice spoke of an ancient researcher who had recognized him. "What the hell?" Lucas muttered, his heart pounding in his ears. "He's looking for me." Mina and Thomas exchanged worried glances. "Who?" Thomas asked, his voice laced with suspicion. "What does he want?" "The researcher from the Medi laboratory," Lucas explained, the weight of the revelation crashing down on him. "He saw the footage. He knows what they did to me." "This changes everything," Mina said, her tone serious. "If he wants to help you, it could be a way to learn more about your past. But what if he has ulterior motives?" "I don't know," Lucas replied, frustration seeping into his voice. "I don't want to confront my past, not like this." Just then, a sound echoed from outside, the unmistakable roar of a private ground vehicle approaching. Lucas's instincts kicked in. He pressed his back against the wall, straining to listen. The vehicle's low hum grew louder, vibrating through the air as if it were a predator closing in on its prey. "He's here," Lucas hissed, panic flaring in his chest. "We need to move. Now." But as they debated their next move, Lucas felt a deep pull toward the researcher. This was a chance to understand what had been done to him. "What if I confront him?" he suggested, surprising himself. "What if I find out why he's looking for me?" Mina's eyes widened. "Are you sure? This could be dangerous." "I need to know," Lucas insisted, his resolve hardening. "I can't keep running from this. Not anymore." "Okay," Thomas said slowly, crossing his arms tighter against his chest. "But we stay cautious. If he's dangerous, I'll handle it," Lucas interrupted, determination flaring within him. "I'll talk to him, and we'll see what he wants. But we also need a backup plan. If things go sideways, we need to be ready to head to the Citadel or the mountains." As the trio prepared to move, a heavy silence enveloped them. Lucas felt the weight of their decisions pressing down, aware that whatever path they chose, they were on the brink of a revelation that could alter everything. They gathered their belongings and slipped out into the dim twilight, the shadows stretching around them like old memories. As they moved, a chill ran down Lucas's spine, a sense of being watched. He glanced over his shoulder, and the realization hit him hard. Their pursuers were close, perhaps closer than ever. "Keep moving," Thomas urged, sensing Lucas's hesitation. They hurried down the narrow alley, the sound of footsteps echoing behind them, quickening their pace. As they navigated the winding streets, Lucas caught sight of the vehicle, a sleek, dark machine with glimmering tracking equipment mounted on its sides. The unmistakable emblem of the Medi laboratory marked it, a branding he had tried to forget. His pulse quickened as he recognized the figure in the driver's seat, an ancient researcher with sharp features and an intense gaze that seemed to pierce through the gloom. "That's him," Lucas breathed, his heart racing. That's the researcher. What do we do? Mina asked, panic rising in her voice. We can't let him see us. Maybe he can help, Lucas said, but even as he spoke, doubt gnawed at him. I need to find out what he knows. The vehicle slowed to a halt, and the researcher stepped out, his movements deliberate as he scanned the area. Lucas's breath caught in his throat, torn between the instinct to flee and the desire for answers. Lucas, the researcher called, his voice echoing down the alley, laced with urgency. I know you're here. I can help you. Run! Thomas shouted, grabbing Lucas's arm and pulling him back into the shadows. But Lucas hesitated, his heart battling against his mind. This was the first link to his past he had encountered since escaping the laboratory, and it felt like a chance he couldn't afford to ignore. Wait, he shouted back, surprising even himself. Are you crazy? Mina exclaimed, pulling on his sleeve. We can't trust him. I have to hear him out, Lucas insisted, shaking off her grip. Just give me a moment. With a mixture of fear and resolve, Lucas stepped into the open, facing the researcher. What do you want from me? He demanded, trying to keep his voice steady. The researcher took a step forward, a look of relief washing over his features. I've been searching for you, Lucas. You don't understand the significance of what they did to you. I want to help you unlock your potential. Unlock my potential? Lucas scoffed, anger boiling within him. You're the one who put me in that place. Why should I trust you? I was a part of the old regime, the researcher admitted, his voice growing earnest. But I've seen the light. The experiments, they're not what you think. They were meant to advance our understanding of human capability, but the organization twisted it for their own gain. You have gifts, Lucas. Gifts that could change everything. Mina and Thomas watched from the shadows, tension thick in the air as Lucas weighed the researcher's words. Could he trust this man? Was he truly an ally, or just another remnant of the past he desperately wanted to escape? The sound of footsteps echoed from behind them, and Lucas turned to see dark figures approaching, the unmistakable shapes of their pursuers. The moment of choice was slipping away, and they needed to act fast. Listen, I don't have time for this, Lucas said, frustration spilling over. We need to get out of here. The researcher's expression hardened. If you come with me, I can provide safety and answers. But if you stay here, they will find you. You don't have to run anymore. Let's go, Lucas, Mina urged, her voice a desperate whisper. We need a plan, Thomas echoed, glancing anxiously at the approaching shadows. As they faced the encroaching danger, Lucas felt a surge of uncertainty wash over him. The allure of answers and the shadows of his past beckoned. But the present was equally dire. Citadel City of Elves, or the mountains? Lucas asked, urgency coloring his voice as he turned to Mina and Thomas, hoping for guidance amidst the chaos. Mina looked from one option to the other, weighing their choices. If we go to the Citadel, we'll need to find a way to prove our worth. If we go west, the dwarves might demand something in return. I trust you both, Lucas said, his heart racing. Whatever we choose, we do it together. With a nod of agreement, they made their decision and set off, hearts pounding as they moved deeper into the shadows, the past nipping at their heels and the future uncertain. The ancient researcher watched them go, a mix of concern and determination etched on his face, knowing their choice could shape the fate of all. I'll talk to him, Lucas said, his voice steadying as he turned back to the researcher. If we're going to do this, we need your help. You need to get us out of the city. Can you do that? The researcher hesitated, his brow furrowing in concern. I can't take you out of the city, Lucas. You don't understand. You need to come with me to my home. I have a laboratory there, where I can help you harness your abilities. It's crucial that you learn how to control them. Help? Lucas shot back, disbelief flooding his voice. You mean experiment on me again? You want to turn me into one of your test subjects? Not like that, the researcher insisted, desperation creeping into his tone. This is different. I can show you things, help you understand your potential. You could be more than you ever imagined. Mina's grip on Lucas's arm tightened. This isn't right, Lucas. We can't trust him. We need to get out of here, not walk into another trap. Your abilities are powerful, Lucas, the researcher pressed, taking a step closer. With the right guidance, you could. Enough! Lucas interrupted, his heart pounding. The tension in the air was palpable, thick with the weight of choices yet to be made. "You're not listening. We're not going with you." The researcher's expression shifted, a hint of frustration flashing across his face. "You don't understand what's at stake. If you don't allow me to help you, they will find you. You have no idea how dangerous this is." "Then let us take your car," Thomas interjected, glancing at the approaching shadows. "We can make it to safety before they catch up." But the researcher shook his head, his tone turning more insistent. "You don't get it. My home is the only place where you'll be safe. You're not equipped to handle the threats out there. They're watching every move you make." Lucas felt the pressure of the moment bear down upon him, and the sense of being trapped began to take root. He needed to act. "What if we just make you our driver?" he said suddenly, an idea sparking in his mind. "Maybe I could." Before he could finish, the researcher's gaze sharpened, reading the shift in Lucas's demeanor. "You can't control me," he warned, but doubt flickered in his eyes. "Watch me," Lucas challenged, focusing his energy inward, feeling a strange warmth envelop him. As he concentrated, he reached deep within, trying to tap into something he didn't fully understand. He envisioned manipulating the researcher's thoughts, bending them to his will. Mina's heart raced as she watched Lucas take this dangerous turn. She tried to reach him in his head. "Lucas, this could be too much for you," she thought, a mixture of fear and concern tightening her chest. But Lucas was already too far gone, his mind focused on the task at hand, shutting out her plea for caution. In that moment, Lucas became aware of a cluster of memories nestled in the recesses of the researcher's mind. Fragments of fear, ambition, and haunting guilt stemming from the lives he had altered through his experiments. He recalled the faces of subjects he had failed to save, the whispers of their unfulfilled potential echoing in his mind, driving him to exert control over the researcher's will, pushing him to comply with their escape. But Lucas pushed forward, concentrating harder. The air thickened around them, charged with an electric energy that pulsed through his veins. He reached out with his mind, feeling a strange connection forming with the researcher, who stood frozen, his expression caught between confusion and intrigue. "Drive us," Lucas commanded, pouring every ounce of focus into his words, desperate to make it work. "Take us out of the city." The researcher blinked, and for a brief moment his eyes widened as if awakening from a trance. Yeah, I will take you out of the city," he murmured, the defiance in his voice wavering. "To the edge, but you must understand." "We'll figure it out on the way." Lucas cut him off, sensing victory within his grasp. "Lucas," Mina shouted, urgency cutting through the charged atmosphere. "We need to run! They're coming!" But before she could grab Lucas's arm, he turned toward the researcher, who had taken a half-step forward as if compelled by an unseen force. "Just drive." With a nod, the researcher stepped back toward his vehicle, Lucas trailing close behind. They scrambled into the sleek, dark machine, Mina and Thomas following suit, the weight of uncertainty clinging to them as they piled in. The hum of the engine filled the silence, vibrating with an unsettling energy. "This is kidnapping," Mina said as they settled in, her voice tinged with disbelief. Thomas exchanged a glance with Mina, his expression a mix of surprise and concern. "What just happened back there?" he asked, his voice low. "Lucas, that was intense." As the researcher gripped the wheel, a chill crept up Lucas's spine. "We need to get out of here fast," he urged, glancing at the rearview display, where dark figures loomed closer, silhouetted against the fading light. "Where are we headed?" the researcher asked, accelerating. "Just drive." Lucas snapped, feeling the urgency pulse through him. The researcher obeyed, tires screeching as they sped down the alleyway, leaving the abandoned building and the encroaching danger behind. The streets rushed past in a blur, the dim glow of city lights flickering like stars caught in a storm. As they turned a corner, the researcher's expression darkened, a hint of reluctance creeping back into his demeanor. "You don't understand," he said, glancing at Lucas, the grip on the wheel tightening. "They will find you, even in the shadows. You have something they want."